May the 23rd, 2022 bulletin for the Quasidb customers. So we had a risk off at the big picture and risk off at the 24-hour difference. However, the caveat there is that the shifting from this was caused by the France, the CAC 40. That was a big shift in the sentiment. Because of that, it actually impacted our calculation because we take into account US 30, US 500, UK 100, German 30, and the CAC 40, France 40. And it takes into account all of those indices, and it gives us a weekly average. And that's how we've been doing it for years. So it wouldn't be that good idea to remove France because we have to include it, because we have been including it for a long time. However, if we did take away the France 40, we could be risk on. So that might be skewing it a little bit. So be careful. And you'll note that the dollar is taking a back seat as well, technically. It's strong on the monthly, but if you look at the daily, it's actually quite weak. And so I think what's happened is that the dollar has taken one for the team and allowed risk to run higher because you know, it acts as a safe haven, and so it probably got sedated a little bit in order for, you know, S&P to rally off those lows. And you could probably argue we're very much oversold on indices as well. So maybe there's a fundamental reason for the dollar weakness, is that now they're going to attempt to buy the dip, and we are sort of at the precipice of on and off, to be honest with you. Aussie and Kiwi are indicating risk on, and the dollar, yen and Swiss, they're in this sell. So, you know, the bubble is indicating a risk on scenario. So it's quite tricky. There is one thing about the US yields, they're actually indicating a risk off, which I'll talk about when I get down there. But yeah, the dollar taking a back seat, I think it's allowing the risk to run higher. So that might be an omen for a risk on scenario. And there's the dollar weakening on the sentiment, dollar CAD and dollar Swiss. And Euro Pound as well took a knock, and there's that France 40 which I talked about. It's impacting the big picture. And here's the inversion of the 5 and the 10 on the US yields. That's not that healthy. We want that to be higher up. We want that to come down. We want that to come down, just basically to track this this trend line. And so that one is respecting it quite well, but these two aren't. So that's an inversion. So we have to be careful. So might be a risk-off scenario narrative there. It should be. And cross yen is out of bonk. Swiss yen is very much out of bonk, and the dollar yen is as well. And our best bet for correlation is SEK yen. Oh, and Kiwi yen as well. 73% probability. So maybe look at Kiwi yen. It's still got quite a large margin of error, but 73% is okay, I guess. Risk on ish, quite risk on, to be honest, and but Europe and London have yet to open. Kiwi USD would be a buy because we see how the dollar yen is weakening, and the Kiwi yen is actually performing quite well. So we extrapolate Kiwi USD, taking out the yen component, because, you know, that's the common denominator. So perhaps Kiwi USD. I just noted the price 6456, and so we can revisit that figure and see if this actually panned out. However, if we go risk off, which is likely, because all these fundamentals in the world right now are indicating risk off, and also this calculation up here, don't forget, you know, we probably could do with a flush still. Because of that, Kiwi USD isn't going to be performing that well. So I just noted the price, and we'll just have to see how that goes. Sentimentally, you know, there's Kiwi USD there, but remember that we'd have to have technical criteria in order for us to get the signal. So the New Zealand dollar, US dollar would have to be a strong buy on the daily time frame, technically. And that's why we haven't got that signal, which is possibly quite good. because if we have a risk off scenario and things start tumbling, this isn't going to perform well, and that signal will be poor. So we do need technical checks. So I'm glad that we've got them actually. I'm sceptical of a lot of moves, but there's the dollar, Swiss and yen over there on the right hand side, and then the riskier currencies, the Aussie and the Kiwi are over here, and the pound's actually coming over as well, and that is a risky currency. So maybe risk on, potentially, sentimentally. And how are we looking? So there wasn't much movement since Friday, very little movement in fact. Aussie yen was the biggest mover at 4%, so it's a very small shift in. I remember we want colours to match, so EA would be a sell, and Kiwi USD is a sell here. According to FX, SSI, which aggregates lots of brokers, and there's mismatch there for the pound yen, and there's a confirmation of a sell for gold. But if you were to look at gold technical chart, it's looking quite strong, so there's a mismatch there. So maybe the best bet might be EA, to be honest with you, and that's that, I guess. And the largest stop loss cluster is EJ. You can see it's sticking out like a sore thumb. It's absolutely huge at 133.70, and it's 6.85 in size, so might be likely. To be honest with you, we could probably argue cross yen could come down, and it did like overextend quite a bit. And there's the yen there, pretty much on that vertical line, hasn't really moved much. And also EJ will be difficult because of the proximity of the bubble. See how they're quite close. And no signals Thursday, Friday, which is absolutely fine because of the volatility in the markets. We had the weakest 8 weeks since 1930, so nearly 100 years where the Dow weakened the most over that period of time since 1930. So very heavy and fundamentally bearish. So because of those fundamentals, I'm actually quite happy we didn't get any signals Thursday, Friday. And the reason for us not to get these signals is because we had these technical checks. And what I've just done, I've enabled Aussie yen and CAD yen and gold, but I'm not going to record them on the spreadsheet for their profit and loss because they don't have any technical checks. And so that's it in a nutshell. So just remember, if we get AJ, CJ and gold, they'll not be added to the profit and loss. Very important. We will record the others, but these have no technical checks, so I'm not going to record them. But of course you're welcome to take them if you'd like, but you have to do technical analysis and fundamental analysis as well. Like if you were to take AJ long, you have to ensure that we're still going to be risk on. Okay, and we're correlating. Okay, it's not a fantastic correlation, but the correlation is true in that if AJ goes up, there's 69% probability that US 500 is going to go up as well. So that correlation is true. So you'd want to be looking at risk on, risk off if you were to take AJ. But do note that CJ and gold and AJ don't have any technical checks. So they'll be recorded, but I just won't include them. So I'm going to do the COT data video now, and it's going to be a nice short video for that one. And be careful today and for this week as well. And it's a quiet calendar as well. There isn't really much on the calendar, which is great. So have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon.